Last summer, I was 26 and back at my grandparents' house for the season. I loved spending my summers there, helping them with chores, eating good food, and recalling old memories. The house was old, creaky, and full of stories. To me, it was simply cozy. But I've never stopped thinking about what happened. One evening during dinner, my grandfather made a strange remark. He said we weren't allowed to go into the woods after sunset. I remember laughing with my cousins, brushing it off as an old tale. They chuckled, and we moved on to ghost stories. But that warning lingered in my mind as the days went by. I noticed odd things. It felt like the woods were watching us. Shadows twisted as twilight fell. One evening, I spotted footprints in the backyard. I wasn't sure if they belonged to me, my cousins, or something else. I felt uneasy but didn't speak up. I didn't want to sound silly. Then one night, curiosity got the better of me. I don't know what time it was, but it was dark outside. I ignored my grandfather's warning and stepped outside. The air felt heavy. I walked down the path towards the trees. The woods seemed alive. The branches bent, creating strange shapes on the ground. My heart raced as I paused, straining to hear something. All I could make out was the rustling of leaves. Despite the summer warmth, a chill crept over me. I thought of turning back, but instead, I pressed on. I wandered into a clearing surrounded by tall trees. In the center stood a massive trunk, covered in strange symbols carved into the bark. They twisted like vines, swirling in ways I didn't understand. Dizziness washed over me. Something was very wrong. Suddenly, a whisper floated through the clearing. I froze. It was soft, almost a call of my name, but there was nobody there. I strained to listen, but the sound faded into silence. A chill crawled down my back. I wanted to run but felt rooted to the spot. Then I saw it. A figure stood just beyond the shadows. I squinted, heart pounding in my chest. I stepped closer, my mind racing. Was it a person? A trick of the light? I couldn't tell. I opened my mouth to call out, but the figure disappeared. Just like that. I turned to run, but it felt like the woods gripped me tightly. The trees surrounded me, blocking my escape. Panic surged through me, and I bolted back toward the house. Breathless and terrified in that moment, my grandfather's words echoed in my mind. What was hidden in those woods? What had I stumbled upon? I didn't get the chance to find out. Just as I reached the porch, I heard a voice behind me. You shouldn't have gone in there. I whipped around, but there was nobody in sight. My heart raced as fear gripped me again. I spent the rest of the night shaking under the covers, haunted by what I had seen and heard. The next morning, I woke up late, still shaken from the night before. I could barely eat breakfast. My grandma, oblivious to my turmoil, rattled on about her garden, while my grandfather's warning echoed in my head. I wanted to talk to him about the woods, but part of me hesitated. What if he dismissed my concerns? As the day passed, I tried to shake off the uneasiness. I spent time with my cousins, but the shadow of the woods clung to me. They suggested we go swimming in the lake, and I eagerly agreed, thinking the water would wash my worries away. But even at the lake, I couldn't relax completely. I kept glancing at the tree line, half expecting to see that figure again. After the swim, we settled on the sand, drying off in the sun. It wasn't long before conversation drifted to the locals. My cousin Jake mentioned something about the old stories surrounding the woods. They say it's haunted, he said casually. People have gone missing. The words made my stomach churn. Missing? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Like, for real? Yeah, my cousin murmured. Some people say they hear voices calling them, and next thing you know, they're gone. I felt unease clawing back into my mind. But that is just a story, right? Jake shrugged. You know how things get around here. But still, it's worth being careful. I forced a laugh, but it didn't reach my eyes. The summer sun felt too hot, and I was suddenly restless. I needed answers. After lunch, I excused myself and grabbed my grandfather's old flashlight. I decided to return to the woods, but this time, I wouldn't just explore. I would look for clues. As I trudged down the familiar path, the sense of dread lurked behind me. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows that seemed to dance around me. The closer I got, the more the air thickened with tension. I had to know what was hiding in there. When I reached the clearing, I felt a mix of fear and determination. The large tree stood like a sentinel, the symbols on its bark more pronounced in the fading light. I raised the flashlight and swept it across the trunk, hoping for an answer. That's when I saw it, something glimmering beneath the branches. I edged closer, my heart hammering. It looked like an old locket, half buried in the dirt. I knelt down and gently brushed the leaves aside. As I grabbed it, the air shifted around me. I stood up quickly, feeling a presence. "Hello?" I called out, my voice shaking. Silence enveloped me. Just then, I heard it again, the whisper, clearer this time, echoing through the trees. "Help me!" My heart sank as a cold wave of realization washed over me. There was something trapped here, something that wanted to be freed. The locket dangled from my fingers, secrets locked inside that would reveal more than I ever wanted to know. Before I could react, I felt a strong gust of wind rush past me. The trees creaked ominously, and the shadows seemed to deepen. Just then, I heard footsteps behind me. I turned around and felt a chill creep up my spine. Someone or something was in the woods with me. I froze, my breath hitching in my throat. The footsteps were slow and deliberate, like someone trying to sneak up on me. I gripped the locket tightly, my heart racing. The whispering continued, a faint, echoing plea weaving through the trees. "Help me!" I spun around, shining the flashlight deeper into the woods, but all I saw were shadows shifting among the trees. Goosebumps prickled my arms. "Who is there?" I demanded, my voice stronger than I felt. The footsteps paused. A moment passed that felt like an eternity. Then, I heard a rustling, branches snapping as if someone was moving away from me. My instincts kicked in. I couldn't leave without finding out what was going on. Taking a deep breath, I marched toward the sound, calling out, "Show yourself." The trees loomed around me, their gnarled trunks feeling like watchful eyes. But the woods swallowed my words, and the only answer came from the whispering wind that I edged closer to where I thought I'd heard the rustle. My foot found uneven ground, and I stumbled. The flashlight beam danced wildly before landing on something that stopped me cold. A figure stood just beyond the reach of the light. It was vague and shadowy, too indistinct to make out clearly. Panic surged through me. "Who are you?" I called, but the figure didn't move. Instead, it seemed to dissolve into the air, leaving only silence in its wake that I felt my pulse quicken. I was alone again, or at least I thought I was. Suddenly, the whispers grew louder, almost frantic. "Help me!" The plea echoed again, wrapping around me, urging me to stay. Something inside me demanded I run, but a stronger force pulled me forward, toward the edge of the clearing. I took a hesitant step, and the ground beneath me seemed to tremble. The light from my flashlight flickered. I glanced at the locket, its surface glinting in the gloom. Was it connected to whatever spirit or entity was calling out for help? I needed to know. Then, in the corner of my eye, I noticed a faint glow, almost like fireflies dancing at the edge of the woods. Curiosity piqued. I moved closer, each step feeling heavier than the last. It flickered and pulsed, calling me in. Just as I reached the source of the glow, I stumbled upon another symbol carved into the ground, a circle with strange lines radiating out like sunbeams. The moment my foot touched the circle, it felt as if the air vanished from my lungs. A surge of energy rushed through me, and everything went dark. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. All I could see were flashes of light and shadows swirling around me. I was trapped, caught in the wood's grip just like those people in the stories. And then, just as suddenly, it stopped. I stood in darkness, the whispers replaced by an unsettling silence. My heart raced as I desperately scanned my surroundings. Had I lost whatever connection I had to the locket? But the glow returned, brighter this time, and I could feel a presence behind me. Someone was watching. With growing dread, I realized I wasn't alone anymore. I took a step back, my pulse pounding. The glow seemed to pulse in time with my heart. I turned slowly, the flashlight beam flickering across the darkness, searching for the source of that unnerving feeling. Something was definitely there, something watching me. "Hello?" I called out, my voice trembling. No response, just the steady hum of the night around me. But then, I saw a shadow gliding between the trees, just out of reach. My breath caught. Was it the same figure I had seen earlier? Gathering my courage, I pressed forward again, drawn by a mix of fear and curiosity. The glow beckoned, that soft light flickering like a candle in the distance. Maybe it was a trick of the mind, but I felt a surge of determination to find out what it was. I approached the light cautiously. As I got closer, I could make out the edges of an old stone structure emerging from the shadows. It looked like a small shrine, overgrown with vines, with the same symbols etched into its surface. The air crackled around me, thick with an energy I couldn't explain. My fingers brushed against the cool stone. Instantly, images flooded my mind, a montage of faces, lost and confused, their eyes pleading for help. Panic washed over me. Were these the spirits trapped in the woods? Just then, the whispering returned, louder, echoing through the clearing. "Help me, please." The voices were overlapping now, desperate, and I felt a shiver run down my spine. I glanced back the way I came. The shadows seemed deeper, darker, as if they were trying to close in on me. "Stop it!" I yelled, but my voice faltered. I couldn't just stand there. The messages in the whispers felt urgent. I needed to understand what they wanted. I turned back to the shrine and noticed something I hadn't before, a locket lying on the ground, remarkably similar to the one I gripped in my palm. But this one was different. It was open, revealing a picture inside. As I leaned closer, my heart stopped. It was a photo of a girl who looked just like me. Confusion swirled in my mind. What was going on? How could that even be possible? I lifted the locket carefully, feeling a strange connection to it. As soon as I touched it, the whispers quieted, and the glow intensified, illuminating the symbol on the shrine. Then, a voice cut through the silence, clear and strong. "You must free us." The suddenness of it made me jump. I looked around, trying to locate the source. The glowing light brightened, casting eerie shadows that danced across the trees. I felt a pang of urgency surging through me. Whatever had happened in this place, it was tied to me. I stepped back, breaking the connection. "What do you want?" My voice was steadier now, almost defiant. The glow dimmed slightly, and the air felt heavy. I realized I needed to make a choice: stay and confront whatever this was, or flee while I still had a chance. Suddenly, I heard the rustling of leaves and a figure emerged from the shadows, moving toward me with speed. I barely had time to react as dread clawed at my throat. I braced myself to face whatever horror awaited me. And that's when I saw it was not just one figure, but several, their eyes glowing with an otherworldly intensity. I stumbled backward, my heart racing as the group of figures closed in around me. Their glowing eyes pierced through the mist, illuminating their pale faces. They looked almost human, but their expressions were twisted with desperation, mouth agape and silent cries for help. "Stay back," I shouted, raising the locket as if it were a weapon. I wasn't even sure what I was hoping to do, but desperation fueled my actions. The glow seemed to respond to my fear, oscillating and flickering like a dying bulb. One of the figures stepped forward, a girl with hair like spun silver. "You have to listen," she said, her voice soft yet urgent. "You are not like them. You're one of us." Her eyes held a sadness that made my chest tighten. "What are you talking about?" I demanded, my voice quivering. "I don't even know who you are." The shadows danced around us as the girl pointed to the shrine. "The locket, our locket. You are connected to this place. You can help us end the curse." The others shifted closer, their eyes pleading. I felt the weight of their stares, heavy with expectation. My mind raced. A curse? Before I could process her words, another figure moved in, a boy with dark hair, leaning closer. "We were trapped here for years, bound by the magic of this shrine. You hold the power to set us free." "Why me?" I asked, half in disbelief. Was this some sort of trick? At that moment, I thought about my own locket, the one I had found in my grandmother's attic years ago. What did it have to do with them, with this place? The boy continued, determination shining in his eyes. "Because you're part of the bloodline. You must awaken the spirit within." Panic rose in my throat. Bloodline? What on earth did that mean? I glanced at the shrine again, my pulse hammering in my ears. I could feel something hidden within it, something yearning to break free. "What do I have to do?" I finally asked, sensing that I had already stepped too far to turn back now. "Place the locket on the shrine," the girl instructed, her voice steady. "It will draw out the others. Only then can we be free." I hesitated, fear freezing my feet to the ground. If I placed my locket there, what would happen? Would it unleash whatever magic held these souls captive, or would it consume me along with them? Just then, the wind picked up, gusting through the clearing. A low rumble echoed in the distance. My gaze darted from the figures to the ominous sky. The atmosphere shifted, darkening with an intensity that was impossible to ignore. "Do it." The boy's voice broke through the mounting tension. I took a deep breath, steeling myself. I had already come this far. With trembling hands, I stepped forward, the locket warm against my palm. As I approached the shrine, the air crackled with energy, and the glowing figures leaned in, their eyes wide with hope. That's when everything changed. A blinding light erupted from the shrine, engulfing me and the figures in a searing brilliance. I was momentarily blinded, unsure of what would happen next. And as the light faded, I felt a chill creep down my spine. I was not alone anymore. I blinked several times, trying to adjust to the fading light. The figures were still there, but now they were standing closer, their forms shifting and shimmering like smoke. I could barely comprehend what I was seeing. They weren't mere illusions. I could feel their presence, a strange mixture of warmth and chill that made my skin prickle. What just happened? I breathed, my voice a whisper. The air felt charged, thick with anticipation. Thank you, the girl with silver hair said, her voice laced with relief. You've awakened the spirit, but it's only the beginning. You must help us finish what was started. Her eyes locked onto mine, and I felt a deep wave of sadness wash over me. I glanced at the shrine, still radiating a faint glow. It felt alive, almost as if it were breathing. Panic rose again. What had I actually released? What do you mean finish? I asked, my heart racing even faster now. The boy stepped closer, his expression serious. The curse can only be broken through a sacrifice. A choice must be made, and time is running out. Sacrifice? My stomach dropped. What are you talking about? The other figures shifted uneasily, their glowing eyes flickering. I sensed their fear, but I couldn't comprehend what they wanted from me. Did it involve me? My mind reeled. If I was part of this bloodline, did that mean I had to give something up, my life, my freedom? Suddenly, the ground beneath me trembled. The sky darkened further, an ominous rumbling echoing through the trees. I stumbled back, and the figures caught me with their outstretched hands. Focus, the girl urged. You must find the strength within you. Strength for what? I wanted answers, the weight of their expectations pressing down on me. The boy extended his hand, revealing a small, ancient-looking stone etched with strange symbols that sparkled faintly. This stone holds the key to the curse. It's tied to your locket. You must use it to confront the spirit that guards this shrine. Who or what is it? I asked, trembling. The thought of facing a spirit filled me with dread. Our keeper, the girl said, sadness radiating from her. She was once one of us, trapped by her own choices. Only by confronting her can we be freed. As she spoke, a piercing cry echoed from deep within the forest, sending chills racing down my spine. The trees swayed, and a dark figure emerged from the mist, looming over us. Do not let her take you, the boy shouted, grasping my shoulder tightly. You must hold on to the stone and face her. It's the only way we can break the curse. My heart thudded painfully in my chest. The figures around me faded slightly, their light dimming. I felt their urgency, their desperation, pushing me towards something I wasn't ready for. But as the dark figure approached, fear transformed into a spark of resolve. Okay, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. I'll do it. With a nod, I grasped the stone tight in my hand, bracing myself for what was about to come. Then I saw it. The figure was not just dark, it was familiar. I recognized the features twisting in agony. Mom, I gasped, disbelief crashing over me like a wave. Was this what they meant by sacrifice? The figure loomed closer, and I could see her face clearly now. My heart raced. I couldn't shake the feeling that this was wrong. How was I supposed to confront my own mother? Mom, I screamed, desperation lacing my voice. The dark shadow paused for a moment, her expression one of torment and regret. What happened to you? She opened her mouth as if to speak, but no words escaped. Instead, a wail broke from her lips, echoing through the clearing. I felt the world around me vibrate with her sorrow, and I instinctively stepped back. No, stay away, I shouted, clutching the stone fiercely as if it were my only protection. She cannot hurt you, the girl whispered, her voice steady despite the chaos. But she can confuse you. That is her power. What do I do? I turned to her, panic rising again. How can I break the curse? The boy squeezed my shoulder, grounding me. You must call to her. Remember who she was before the darkness took her. You have to remind her of love. Remind her of love? I closed my eyes, looking back through years of memories. Happy moments flashed in my mind: family dinners, laughter over games, the gentle way she would tuck me into bed. "Mom," I croaked, feeling tears sting my eyes. "You're not lost. We need you back." The dark figure lurched forward, her features flickering like a flame. "Leave now," she cried, the sound chilling me to the bone. I shook my head, determination coursing through me. "I want to leave you," I shouted, my voice breaking. "You're my mom. You taught me how to be brave. You taught me love." The shriek that erupted from her felt like it was tearing my heart apart. I held the stone out toward her, feeling its energy pulse through me. "You don't belong here. You can fight this. Come back to us." The air crackled with tension as the shadow hesitated, her mouth twisting into a frown of recognition. "No, it can't be." I took a step forward, unwilling to retreat. "It is. You are still here. You're not just a spirit. You can break free." Suddenly, everything shifted. A blinding light emanated from the stone, illuminating the clearing. The other figures around me brightened, lifting their heads, focused on the confrontation. "Now," the girl called, her voice fierce. "Together." In that moment, I felt the warmth of the figures surrounding me. We were a united front, ancestors, lost souls, and my own mother. With courage swelling within, I extended my hand further, hoping against hope that love would reach her. But as I looked into my mother's eyes, darkness loomed once more. I breathed deeply, steeling myself against the fear that clawed at my chest. But then I felt a new confusion. "Is this really you, or just an echo?" I asked, doubt tightening its grip. A whisper echoed through the air. "It's too late." The sky rumbled again. This was not the end. This was only the beginning. Just when I thought the darkness was receding, her form twisted. Then everything went dark. I gasped and jolted up, my heart thumping wildly in my chest. The darkness was thick, wrapping around me like a heavy blanket. Panic clawed at my throat, and I blinked, trying to adjust to the dim light filtering through the trees. "Where am I?" I muttered, rubbing my bleary eyes. The stone was still clutched in my hand, its surface warm. I glanced around, disoriented. The clearing felt different, as if the very air had shifted with the tension of what had just happened. "You're safe." The girl's voice pierced the stillness, her image materializing beside me, as if she de-emerged from the shadows. "But we don't have much time. The darkness is still near." "Darkness?" I echoed, remembering the figure, my mother. "What do you mean?" "The sorrow that binds her grows stronger," she said urgently. "And the closer she gets to her true form, the more powerful her anguish becomes. You need to find her before it's too late." I took a breath, my thoughts spinning. How do I do that? The boy appeared on the other side, his brow furrowed. "You must face the darkness within her. It's a part of her now, but it can be subdued. You have to confront it with your memories." I hesitated, the weight of their words sinking in. "But what if it's too much? What if I can't save her?" The girl placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder. "Believe in the love you shared. It's the strongest weapon you have." I nodded, steeling myself despite the lingering fear. "Okay, I'll remember. I'll remind her." "Follow the whispers," the boy instructed, pointing toward a narrow path obscured by underbrush. "They'll guide you. But be careful, her darkness may try to deceive you." I took a deep breath and stepped forward, the path rough against my feet. Shadows loomed around me, but I couldn't let their whispers pull me off course. I thought of her laugh, her soothing voice, and the warmth of her embrace. With each memory, I felt the stone flicker, sending tiny sparks of light around me. The whispers grew more distinct, pulling me deeper into the thicket. "Help me," a faint voice echoed, strained and desperate. "Help me back, Mom." I called out, my heart racing. The thought of her being trapped somewhere in that darkness drove me onward. "I'm coming. I want to let you go." Then, I stepped into a clearing. This one was eerily quiet, the air thick with an all-consuming shadow. In the center stood a figure, obscured and trembling, my mother, though not herself. I felt every fiber of my being urging me to run. "Please," her voice pulled at my heart. "You don't understand." "Understand what?" I shouted, struggling against the rising fear. "That you're lost? That you need help?" The shadows around her began to swirl, angered by my intrusion. "Leave me," she cried, her form flickering between the light and dark. "Then let me help you." I yelled back, emboldened. "You're not just darkness. You're my mom." "No," she screamed, and the shadows surged forward, ready to pull me into their depths. That S when I saw it an opening in the dark, a shred of light beyond the chaos. It called to me, bright and warm, promising safety. In that instant, I realized the truth. If I could just reach her, if I could remind her of who she was, I had to act fast. With renewed determination, I stepped forward into the storm. The moment I stepped closer, the wind howled, swirling around me like a tempest. Shadows whipped past, trying to distract me, but I kept my eyes locked on my mother. "I want to give up on you," I yelled over the roar. The darkness seemed to shift with my words, rippling like water disturbed. I felt the stone in my hand pulse, growing warmer. I remembered her smile, how it lit up even the darkest days. That memory guided me, a beacon through the storm. "Mom, remember the time we baked cookies? You let me eat the dough when you thought I wasn't looking." She hesitated, the shadows around her flickering. Her voice cracked, and I could see a glimmer of recognition in her eyes. "Your laugh when I made a mess. You said I was a little chef in training," I shouted, desperation surging through me. I took another step forward, ignoring the creeping chill of the shadows surrounding me. The light from the stone brightened, illuminating her trembling form. "Please," I urged. "You're not lost. You're with me. I remember every moment we shared. You are love, not darkness." The shadows roared in protest, striking out at me, but I held my ground. I could see her face more clearly now, the pain etched in every line. "You can fight this, Mom. I know you can." For a brief moment, the shadows paused. Then, I felt a surge from the stone, a wave of warmth that filled the clearing. "Every laugh, every hug, it's all still there, Mom. You can choose to remember." Her eyes flickered with something hope, perhaps. "I can't, you can. Just hold on to me," I called, reaching out, desperate to grasp even the smallest piece of her spirit. The shadows recoiled, as if they feared my light. Then, from the depths of the darkness, a new figure emerged. It was a twisted reflection, mirroring my mother but cloaked in suffering. "You're nothing but a child," it hissed, its voice low and menacing. "She'll never escape me." "What are you?" I shouted, stepping between my mother and the apparition. My heart raced, but I stood firm. "You're not my mom." The figure laughed, a harsh sound that echoed in the clearing. "I am her pain, her regrets. She needs me." "No," I screamed, the stone blazing brighter in my grip. "You are a lie. You are the darkness she can let go of." The apparition lunged at me, shadows crashing together, threatening to overwhelm. In that moment, I realized I had to make a choice. "Mom, you are stronger. Focus on me. Remember." As I stood my ground, I felt the warmth spread from the stone through my body. I poured all my love into that single moment, and the shadows hesitated, faltering. The urge to flee rose in me, but I couldn't back down now. Suddenly, there was a shift. I felt something break in the air, a crack in the darkness. I knew this was my chance. "Mom." I reached out, my voice steady. "Come with me." The darkness writhed, and the reflection shrieked, but I held on, willing her to fight alongside me. That S when everything went dark, and I felt myself tumbling into the void, but I couldn't lose hope. I gasped, my heart pounding as I opened my eyes. I was back at the clearing, sunlight breaking through the canopy above. I blinked, disoriented, but the figures were gone. The shrine stood quiet, the locket still warm in my hand, casting a faint glow in the gentle light. Did I succeed? I wondered aloud, my mind racing. Was it enough? I scanned the area, searching for the shimmering figures from before, hoping to see my mother among them. But the clearing felt empty, the air still and heavy. Just then, a wind swept through the trees, rustling the leaves, almost as if the woods were breathing a sigh of relief. I stood up, my legs shaky beneath me, and took a step toward the shrine. The symbols carved into the stone now glowed softly, a pulse that felt like a heartbeat. I reached out, placing my palm against its cool surface. The locket vibrated in my hand, sending warmth through my fingers. "What do you want from me?" I whispered, hoping for a sign. Was it a goodbye or a promise of freedom? My thoughts raced. That S when I felt a hint of familiarity tugging at my mind, something I had almost forgotten. A memory. I wasn't sure what was real anymore. Shadows from my ordeal danced at the edges of my perception, blurring the line between past and present. Suddenly, I thought of her laughter, the warmth of our shared moments, how she had always returned home after dark. "I hope you're at peace," I murmured, feeling a strange mixture of grief and relief. I realized that I had fought not just for her, but for myself to soften the edges of pain that had lingered too long. As I turned away from the shrine, ready to leave the clearing, the wind shifted again. A soft whispering brushed against my ears, almost like a gentle call. I paused, uncertain. Was it just the forest playing tricks on me, or were those voices real? But then, clarity settled in. It didn't matter. I had faced the unknown, confronted the darkness, and I was still breathing. I felt a new resolve, a desire to uncover the truth that lay just beyond the edge of these woods. That I retraced my steps back toward the house, the familiar path feeling less daunting now. The shadows around me danced, but they no longer held the same power. I had absorbed their fear and uncertainty into something stronger, hope. Once I reached the porch, I turned back to glance at the woods, the towering trees standing solemnly behind me. I shivered at the thought of what might still lurk within their depths, the secrets begging to be revealed. A lingering unease settled in my chest, reminding me that not everything had been resolved. For days after, I attempted to shake the sensation of not knowing. I spoke to my grandfather about the stories, the unexplained disappearances, but he shrugged it off as folklore tales meant to scare children. He never mentioned my mother's named as I gathered my things to leave. A peculiar thought shadowed my mind. Were there more like her lost souls trapped, waiting for someone to remember them? Or was it just me clinging to echoes of the past where the memories of love intertwined and the burden of loss haunted the living? These questions will forever linger, unanswered, as I continued on with my life. But I moved to a different town the following month, leaving my grandparents and that belligerent darkness behind. Sometimes at night, I glance toward the woods, half expecting to hear a whisper calling out, but mostly I try not to think about it.